Hey there, everybody. Fox 35, Storm Team Meteorologist Noah Bergren here. How you doing? Thanks for checking with us here on a Friday evening. I hope you had a great week on what is the second day of May, 2025, and it's going to be a changeable weekend of weather. We're going to have some rain, if you can believe it, coming on in for Saturday. So we're live on Fox Local, which is our streaming platform. We're live on Facebook, Fox 35 Orlando, and we're also live on our YouTube channel online. So if you have a comment, a concern, please, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to see your comment. So please put it in the feed on Facebook, also on YouTube. I will check that for you. Got to make sure the tie is good, you know. I could give it the old Roddy Dangerfield here, make sure it fix the tie, you know. So let me pull this up, make sure I've got some comments for you in here. Questions, hello, how are you? We got a lot to talk about, including fires and storms. Fires and storms in Central Florida, and a lot of storms to our north, but unfortunately a lot of those storms are not going to really make it into our area like they are to the north. They're just going to kind of fall apart once they get here on Sunday. Let me share this on my Facebook page. I hope you had a great week. Years flying by. If you're on our Facebook feed, by the way, please go ahead and click the share button right here. Then click share now to your friends and family. Love to hear, get some more people on here watching. We'd appreciate that. Let me know where you're watching from. If you have any question, I would love to hear from you. This has got to be interactive back and forth. I know it's a Friday, and many of you may be out enjoying your plans and whatnot, or on YouTube. We've got a couple people on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. So tonight in Marion County, things are beautiful right now. But they were not earlier. In fact, we had several brush fires, and we still have a brush fire going on in Marion County. So these are the active fires going on in Central Florida. So over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you about fires, storms, and the long-range pattern. And then unless any of y'all have something to talk about, I'd love to hear from you on the 2nd of May. What's up from Titusville? Harry Vanderkamp. Appreciate you watching now 2 nights in a row. That's nice of you. It's a big weekend. It's the Derby weekend up in Kentucky. We've got big events here in Florida as usual, and we're firmly into spring right now, and we're going to get some rain finally here in Florida. So we had five brush fires earlier. The one that's in Marion County, which you can see over here on the left, is starting to go away. Thankfully, the big smoke plume that was there earlier has now faded away, which is good news. You can see on the camera below me, about by the Space Coast, it's very nice, but at least inland areas, we've had some of these fires. This was earlier from our Skyfox. I'll take this full so you can see. This was from Volusia County. 2 small fires. They weren't really that big. They did get close-ish to some neighborhoods. You see on the bottom here, there are some neighborhoods on the bottom of the screen. So, a few people got close to being threatened, but thankfully didn't produce any major damage. But this is just a visual reminder that we need rain. We're going to get it. So we had 2 fires in Volusia. 3 fires in Volusia. 1 was at the airport. 2 were down off I-4. This was one of them that our chopper Skyfox flew over earlier. And we had one bigger one in Marion County, very big fire. That has since been at least put out from what I could tell. There has been some crew response there. You can see the fire that was in Marion County thankfully has been subsided. Radar actually does a really good job of detecting wildfire smoke. Hello from Lisa Kent. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Let me show you the radar across the south tonight, because man, there are a lot of storms. It's been a wild day to our north. There's been severe storms from Kentucky to Tennessee to Alabama to Missouri, Louisiana, Texas, even up to Ohio. And look at all the thunderstorm warnings south of that cold front. I mean, there's been hundreds of severe thunderstorm warnings today. A lot of wind damage today, and this is a pretty rare May cold front. I mean, they happen, but you don't really see a lot of May cold fronts, especially don't get this far south. It's going to cause some cooler air behind it, and there's going to be some chilly air next week in the Midwest. None of that will actually make it to Florida. But look on the infrared satellite. I'll take this full so you can see what I'm talking about here. This is the infrared satellite we show you during hurricane season, and look at how big those thunderstorms are. I mean, these suckers are monstrous across the south. I mean, there's been a lot of flights today that have been diverted around these areas of thunderstorms across the deep south. A lot of this energy is going to miss us to the north, sadly. It's not really come here. Let me make this black so you can see the pen a little bit better. This actual low that you see right here, that's going to drift off northeast, and a lot of the energy that's producing these storms will miss Florida to the north also. This front will have just enough of forcing with it that once it gets to the Florida Peninsula Sunday, it'll help spark some showers, but the movement will be west to east across the peninsula on Sunday afternoon, and then again on Monday. Temperatures across the south tonight are warm in the southeast, but a lot cooler to the north. You see a lake breeze in Chicago. Look at that, about 45. 63 in Nashville. High 60s up where the Derby will be this weekend in Louisville. 65 in Dallas. You see 77 in Houston. We're in the 80s in Florida. 82 in New Orleans. What's up from Kevel? Rhonda, how are you? What's going on, Rhonda? Some big storms up that way today. You see on YouTube, we've got about 23 of y'all on YouTube. If you're on our YouTube channel, say hello. I would love to hear you on our YouTube channel. I'm not seeing any of you commenting on our YouTube channel yet. I know you're all out there somewhere. So there's the temps. There's the front with some big storms today. That's going to come through this weekend. So at least for Central Florida, here's the temps out the door in the morning. About 70 in most places. The highs tomorrow will look pretty similar to today, maybe within a few degrees of where we were today. We'll say 88 Sanford, 89 Orlando, 83 Melbourne, 84 Daytona, 89 in Ocala. There will be a chance of a thunder shower anywhere, but it's not a high chance tomorrow by any stretch of the imagination across our area. Donna Bergren would be my lovely, outstanding mother. She is watching. Hello. Rhonda, I'm glad to hear you're doing good. That is fantastic. Glad to hear you're doing good. So there'll be some storms tomorrow in Florida. But let's do a little more detailed radar digging. So the good news is that most of the fires we had in Florida are now appearing to be ending, which is good news. Zoom things out. Nothing else across Florida, but big storms. I mean, look at these suckers. Some big storms right now in, let's see, what is this here? Eastern Kentucky. This is coal country up here. Wayne County, West Virginia. Johnson County. This is over by Johnson City. Some big thunderstorms. Huge line of storms coming into Atlanta by Dalton, Georgia. Taylorsville. A big line of storms in Alabama. They had their commencement last night at the University of Alabama. Big thunderstorms there by Alabaster going towards Montgomery. Little storm in central Mississippi there. A little bit west of Mississippi State's campus. Not going to do much there. Then some other thunderstorms down into the deep south, and a couple of severe storms right towards the Mexican border and outside of Austin. But yeah, a really active week. I mean, there's been a lot of thunderstorms, and these thunderstorms stretch from New York to Texas with that boundary, and you can see that aligns really well with where the severe threat was outlined for today. Now tomorrow there's another threat for severe weather. There it is. It shifts to the east. So no threat in Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, or Central Florida. There'll be a threat in the Panhandle. Notice here tomorrow in the Florida Panhandle, there'll be at least some potential west of Tallahassee. Could be a damaging wind gust or a brief tornado in these areas of Florida tomorrow, but not for Gainesville or anywhere near our areas. What's up from Mount Dora? Appreciate you, David Lee Robinson. That's nice of you to say. I hope you have a great weekend, brother. Appreciate you watching us here. Tell your friends to watch Fox 35. Hello, Pat Bessett. How are you, Pat? What's up from Mount Dora? Wanda. I'll take a Mount Dora. I'll take a Mount Dora recommendation. I've only been to Mount Dora a handful of times so far. If you have a coffee or a something recommendation in Mount Dora, I'd love to hear it. I am trying to explore a new Florida town every week. That's my new goal. Even if it's just to drive through or to get coffee or learn something, go to a restaurant, golf. I'm trying to go somewhere new. I've done a lot of the trails out towards Wekiva Springs and out towards Eustis, but I'm trying to expand. So if you have a recommendation, I'm all ears for it. Would love to hear it. But back to the weather. There's that severe storm threat for tomorrow, which extends from essentially Tallahassee up towards New England, and then on Sunday, actually, we do have at least a marginal threat for a severe storm on Florida's east coast. So this is a level 1 out of 5. What this means is there could be a severe storm or two. Damaging wind gust, maybe some large hail. anytime there's a storm on the Atlantic coast, we'll have to watch for a brief tornado. There's no use making a big deal out of it because literally any day there's a storm there could be one. So I'm not going to make a big stink about that. But just be aware if you're on the I-95 corridor Sunday, you could get your phone pinged with a severe thunderstorm warning or two in the late afternoon and evening for one or two spots. You could see a big wind gust or some large hail, and we'll be keeping an eye on that for you Sunday afternoon. More rain coming into the Mammoth Cave area. Let me check out the radar right now, but that's the current outlook for severe storm Sunday. Here's the live radar. Yeah, most spots look pretty dry. And in fact, the rain today was not really that notable. Here's the rain over the past 3 hours. Here it is over the past 6. There was one teeny shower this morning. It came in over here. A couple of showers down in Polk County. But as expected, there really wasn't a notable chance of any rain today. Over the last 7 days, it's remarkable. There's not much in Florida. And then you zoom this out and look at all the rain in the heartland and the plains. You could tell where the thunderstorms have been. They've been out over here. Now, in an El Nino winter or spring, that corridor would be down over here, which is what we had a few winters ago in Florida. But we're coming out of La Nina, which places the jet stream track like this, hence why that's where all the rain is on either side of that, cutting across the middle of the country. It's bad drought here in Florida, but look at across the west. I mean, you think it's bad here. I mean, there's plenty of areas that are much worse for the drought. In fact, there's, huge chunks of Nevada that are in extreme drought. There's even exceptional drought in New Mexico, large parts of Texas. That's the rarest form of drought out there. And for context, you see how small our extreme drought zones are here around Orlando and Miami compared to what's out here. So there are large parts of the country that are experiencing pretty uncommon forms of drought. So it's not just Florida that does need some rain here going forward. What's up from Mayfield? Tamara, how you doing? How are you doing? But yeah, so one more time with the radar for tonight, then we'll talk about the future. There's all the storms, and it's just this line of storms right here. That's for the front. Outside of that, it's just big, beautiful, high pressure over the middle of the country, and that's going to push this area of storms to the south. So let's talk about the future. Let me give you the Florida 7-day, then I'll show you some models across the country for the long term. So here's the Central Florida 7-day. Tomorrow on Saturday, there'll be a handful of thunder showers, but not a lot. There'll be some, but again, not a ton. Sunday, there's a good chance of a decent number of storms. I do think there will be many in the afternoon and in the evening, especially east of the city. Similar on Monday, just slightly less coverage. And then Tuesday, Wednesday should be hot and sunny next week, dry. I will admit, I try to be a transparent meteorologist. Hopefully you've noticed. I try not to hide behind, waffle words and, it may rain, it may not. I try to be straight to the point. Hopefully you've picked up on that. And I have the ability to call myself out when I'm wrong or we got it wrong. I will admit that the forecast for next week, if you followed us, has changed wildly. In fact, 3 days ago I had a high of 78 for Tuesday next week. Now it's 90 and sunny. The weather pattern next week is one that is funky, and I'll show you that in a minute. But what we thought, and I thought was going to bring us some rain most of every day next week, moved north 500 miles abruptly, and now it's just going to be sunny, hot, and dry Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Had it stayed the pattern the way it looked for next week, we could have had a tropical system form near Florida, but that's no longer the case because the pattern changed. But that threat was real. It was not, it was not hyperbole or anything like that. What's up, Cleva Kennedy? How are you? Rhonda Simmons, we appreciate you following, and I appreciate you following along on my weather ventures. What's up, Fi Hi? Yo, hello, the food vlog on YouTube. Astor, Florida, Fi Hi. Hello. How are you? So there's the Central Florida 7-day. Handmade, no AI yet, no artificial intelligence. One thing to know about the end of next week is there's a pattern change. Should be a pretty unsettled period Friday into next weekend. So, I told you about the pattern. Let me show you that with some models. What do you say we roll up our sleeves and do some meteorology here? because you can get all the basic stuff from your app. You don't need to watch me or us for the basic stuff. So let me show you the models. So here we're looking at what you would consider the GFS model. And this is up in the jet stream, and I want you to notice what happens. Watch here as these two giant lobes form, one over the west, one over the east, and these are called cutoff lows, where you see the jet stream is up here from the Aleutian Islands in Canada, Alaska, excuse me, up to Alberta, Calgary, then up across Hudson Bay, and then towards Nova Scotia. This is the jet stream up on the top of this graphic. And then off of that, look down here, these two little orbiting little lobes. Watch how they just sit, they detach from the jet stream. They're little balls of energy, little lobes of cold air. They sit, they both detach, and they just sit and spin over the middle of the country. They're called cutoff lows. They're very difficult to predict, even with as good as our models are today, because the amount of physics that's going on, you essentially think about it like a spinning little eddy in a river. Like if you stand at a river or a rapids, in the summer, and you're looking on the river, watching the river go down, and you see a leaf or an area within the flow of the river. There's a little localized going down the river. There's the flow, and then within this, there's a little vortice going down. Think of something like that just detached from the jet stream spinning. It's very difficult to predict. Very, very, very difficult to predict. And they have huge changes on the weather. Miss you too, Gene. Hello from Tennessee. How are you doing? What's up, Alice Blanco? How are you? So these two areas of low pressure are going to create really cold weather beneath them. One's going to be across Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and the other across the Four Corners region into Mexico, Arizona. But this one over the east, at least a few days ago, look like it may be over Florida. And you see they just sit and spin, and eventually this one, look at this one in the middle of the country. Ready? I'm just going to let this play. Watch this. There's the play button. There you go. Watch this one in the middle of the country. Walk on the left of your screen. See that over Vegas. Watch the there's two. This is middle of next week. It moves over the Midwest. See it over Arkansas, and look at that thing. See it spinning? Then it moves south. This is May 10th. Still spinning. May 12th, it's moving over the Gulf. And then May 16th, it's over Florida. I mean, this is 15 days worth of sitting and spinning. That's remarkable. It's just going to sit and spin over the middle of the country. You see that it's still sitting and spinning, and then finally goes away. And right beneath that, it's cloudy, it's wet, it's rainy, it's stormy. Another way to look at it is the upper level temperatures, which you can see there's those two balls of energy or cold air. In fact, these are the cloud temperatures. You want to look at how this forms. It's pretty wild. So these are the cloud temps. Watch how that ball detaches. It's just really cold air just sitting and spinning. Really, really cold air. And then eventually that one gets pushed out from the jet stream. And then another one forms. That one from the west comes in. It just sits and spins over Arkansas heading into the middle of the month. But yeah, right beneath that, just look at it sitting there and spinning. Look at the temperatures here. This is pretty wild. Look at Sunday afternoon, 70s and 80s in Florida, and look here in the Ohio Valley. Beneath the low, it's 38 in Chicago, yet 70 in Kansas City and 70 in Philadelphia. It's warmer in Wisconsin and Connecticut than southern Indiana. That's just that giant ball of cold. And last week it looked like that was going to be over Florida. And it could even help spawn a tropical system or a tropical storm. That moved north by 500 miles, hence why the forecast changed here for the end of next week. But look at the cool air next week that gets brought down by that. Look at some of these temps here. Let me go to, what is this? Monday morning. Look, there's almost 40s into the Florida Panhandle. Look at these temps. 55 into the Florida Panhandle. 54 New Orleans. Upper 40s into Atlanta. 30s in Chicago. This is a very impressive late season cool front that doesn't quite make it to Central Florida But yeah, those are the Monday morning temperatures. And here's the rain from the GFS through the duration of the model, which notice eventually there should be some more rain in Florida. But even if we get 3 inches of rain like this says, we're in a 10-inch rain deficit. So that's why I say the drought is going to continue to get worse before it gets better for us here. Anywho, so there's your look at the models out long in time. If you're just joining us, we talked about earlier, we had some brush fires in central Florida earlier tonight. This was from Volusia County from Sky Fox. We had several fires burning, very smoky fires, and then another one up in Ocala from earlier. You see the trails of smoke there on the radar system picking it up. The rain deficits here are pretty significant. I mean, they're 10 inches below in the Villages, 10 in Daytona Beach, 8 nearly in Sanford, Lake Mary, 9 nearly in Orlando, 7.5 in Titusville. These are the rain deficits since the dry season started, which was the middle of last October. So if you have a question, a comment, a concern, please put it in the feed. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a great Friday, whatever you have planned for the weekend. I will show you the Fox model here coming up in a second as soon as I fix it. I was screwing around with it earlier, and unfortunately I messed it up. There we go. So here we are back. Okay, I'll show you that in a second. Is it Strawberry Winter Rhonda? Yeah, you could call it that. Yeah, that's a good point, Rhonda. I forgot about that. That's a great point. Hello, Jean, Tamara, Rhonda. Let me look on our YouTube. What's up, Nicole Robbins? Hello, you follow me on my Facebook. I've seen you before. Hello, hello. Does it seem like those storms bring a tornado threat in Kissimmee on Sunday? Probably not Kissimmee, Nicole. I would say the Space Coast could be, but not Kissimmee, no. Yeah, flowers in her hair commented. That looks insane. Yeah, what's up, Gloria Califano from St. Cloud, Florida. Califano from St. Cloud, Florida. What's up? Ruth says, where do we stand with the fires? The good news is that the 2 in Volusia County, or the 3 in Volusia County, it takes technically 1 in Flagler, but or there was another one that's not on this map, but the ones that were in Volusia County have been allowed to be considered out now. These are out. The 2, 3, 4, those are gone. And the one that was in Marion County appears to have been put out, which is really good news. It's possible it's still smoldering, but because remember, for radar to see the smoke in the fire, the smoke's got to be up several hundred feet in the air, if not at this point, 1,000+ feet in the air. So it's possible it's still burning, just that we don't see it. But that's where we stand, is that it appears as if all of them are at least out, but I would not be surprised if tomorrow the one in Marion County reignites. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. So let me show you the weekend forecast with the thunderstorms. You're welcome, Ruth. So here's your Saturday. I've got actually my best friend coming down from up north. First time since they've lived here, and we're going to do some golfing in the midday hours tomorrow. So I'm excited for that. But it'll be a little nuisance wind tomorrow, so heads up for that. But the morning should be dry. In the afternoon, there'll be a few storms. Here's 2:30. Here's 5. Here's 7. I think the best chance for storms will be up here near Daytona Beach, Flagler. You see a couple of decent downpours up here about 7 o'clock. So if you have Volusia County and Daytona plans, heads up. It could be a thunderstorm around Daytona Beach about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow. Maybe 1 or 2 strays down here near Orlando. Then you see one here near Disney World, and this would be Magic Kingdom area about 7 o'clock tomorrow. But I think they'll mainly be these up here and Flagler, Volusia County, but we'll see. So you get the idea. A handful of thunder showers tomorrow, late afternoon and evening, but I don't think there's much. So those of you on Fox Local, we will catch you later. Appreciate you watching on our Fox Local stream. And for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, I will keep going with you here for another minute or two. All right, so Facebook, YouTube fans, hello, hello, hello. So that was the Saturday forecast. Here is the Sunday forecast. And notice in the afternoon and the evening, showers and storms. They'll mainly be east of I-4. And those will be some big storms, and then they go away. Here's the Monday forecast. These on Monday will be bigger storms, but they'll be a little bit less in coverage for our area. So Monday should be dry in the morning. Monday afternoon, we get storms that bubble up, but look how most of them are south of us. We'll still have a decent number here, but areas north and west probably stay dry. And notice how these storms on Monday, they move southwards. Here's 6 o'clock. Here's 7:30. Monster storms, Brevard County, Port St. Lucie. Still 8, maybe some reforming, and then they just bring themselves out by late in the day on Monday. So watch out for that this weekend. But I will leave you with the Central Florida 7-day, and it looks like this. 89 tomorrow, 87 Sunday, late day storms. Similar Monday, just less coverage. Dry Tuesday, Wednesday. Then as that upper level low and swirly comes down from the north, we'll have some unsettled weather returning Friday into next weekend. So if you have next weekend plans that take you to the Orlando area, I would expect it to be pretty wet. So if you have travel, vacation, family, friends plans next weekend, very different for the weather compared to this weekend. What's up, Melissa Jones? How are you? So Facebook, YouTube friends, I appreciate you watching. We stopped our stream at 7:55 on our Fox Local platform, but remember you should download Fox Local. That's the app streaming for your smart device. You can get all of your local news, weather content from us here on there. But for right now, I will say have a good weekend and a good night here. Appreciate you watching us on YouTube and Facebook, and hopefully you could watch our news and weather on TV as well. I've got to go get ready for the news at 8 in 3 minutes, actually. I'll be on that. And then again after the UFL game tonight on Fox. But I hope you have a great weekend. Watch out for those storms late Sunday. And we will talk to you soon. We'll see you again here next Thursday and Friday. We're trying this new stream. Hopefully you can make a routine of joining us on Fox Local for that. So have yourself a great weekend. Talk to you soon.